Well, it's here. It has now been 10 whole years since Rockstar has been introduced to the world. Crazy, right? A whole decade since he's been introduced to the world. A lot has happened since then. To celebrate the 10 years, I want to go back and discuss the origin of Rockstar Chuck. Just as a fair warning, I will say it now. I will not be covering topics related to remodels, David McKillop's, Autism Speaks, nor will I be talking about Rockstar's flaws. This is just a video of his origin. You got that? Alright, now let's go back and see what has happened in the 10 years of Rockstar. It all started in the early 2010s. Chuck E. Cheese wasn't doing so well in sales. They needed to do something to keep going. So what did they do? Improve their menu, change up the prices, do more commercials, change up the show, add new games? Nope, even worse. They decided to remove Avenger Chuck. This was already a pretty risky move. The Avenger look had been iconic for 15 years, almost 2 whole decades, beloved by both 90s kids and 2000s kids. This design and Duncan's voice had been iconic for so long, but I guess they had no choice. I mean, technically they did have a choice. In May of 2012, Chuck E. Cheese posted a silhouette of the redesign on their Facebook. The face shape alone already had people mad, and fans were very displeased, so this is already off to a bad start. Soon after, they posted the photo of Chuck's full design, and people didn't like it. Not only were fandom members upset, pretty much everyone was. This redesign meant that they had to remove Avenger Chuck from the public eye. No more PBS ads, no more hats, no more skater gloves, no more balloons, pretty much no more Avenger, which also meant, sadly, no more Duncan Brannon. In June of 2012, members subscribed to the Chucky Mail Club were sent a link to an MP3 titled Chucky's first single. Upon listening to the song, people noticed that it didn't quite sound like Duncan. A fan took it upon themselves to ask Duncan directly if it was him in the video. To everyone's surprise, it wasn't him. Duncan went on to post a blog on his Facebook on June 28, 2012, where he went on to explain that he was replaced without even being told by corporate themselves. He had to find out on his own that he was no longer the voice of Chuck E. Cheese. At this point, Duncan had been voicing Chuck for 19 years. Almost 20 years of working, and that trust was just shattered. Duncan loved being the voice. The fans loved him. Duncan was very involved in the show and clearly loved playing Chuck E. Cheese, attending many events and conventions. He clearly still has love for the character till this day, and they let him go in a flash. Corporate says that he wasn't necessarily fired, as he is still in contact with the company. So, come on, corporate. Explain yourself. I think I got a little sidetracked. Where was I again? Since Duncan was gone, people began wondering, who will be the new voice of Chuck E. Cheese? On June 29, 2012, Jared Reddick, lead singer of Bowling for Soup, tweeted the news that he will be the new voice of Chuck E. Cheese. And let me say, Jared Reddick is the perfect choice to play Chuck E. Cheese. Who better to play the rocker mouse than a real-life rock star? Jared is a very talented singer, and I love his songs from Bowling for Soup, Come Back to Texas, Almost, 1985, Getting Old Sucks, When We Die, High School Never Ends. I can go on and on. There's just so many good ones. At this point, Rockstar Chuck had been around for almost a month. The company began promoting Chuck's new look everywhere, with his cool new hair, new Alvin-looking face, short sleeves sometimes long, blue jeans, and red Converse. And don't forget the return of the tail. As you can clearly see, Rockstar Chuck was intended to pretty much be more edgy, cool to the 2012 kids. Something I forgot to mention is that Rockstar was changed into 3D animation. No more 2D, which was a pretty big change, and I'm sure that this won't bite them in the ass. Around late June, early July, Chuck E. Cheese started their new ad campaign. It was titled Say Cheese It's Funner. Say, oh my, what a day. This was the first song Jared Reddick ever performed for the new mouse. This new promotion included new merchandise, posters, mascot, commercials. Chuck E. Cheese decided to change Chuck's size to be the size of an actual rat. I mean, pretty sure all these kids would have killed him by now. You're telling me Charles went from being the size of an adult to the size of a child and now a full-on rat? There were many ads grabbing different parts from the song Say Cheese It's Funner and thrown into ads. Let me just say that this 3D animation is very nice. Chuck looks so vibrant, animated, jumping all over the tables, rocking out with his guitar, jumping over balls. It was just a great promotion. And it did let people know Chuck's new look. Okay, I'm not sure how long this promotion went on, but probably most of the summer of 2012. Okay, we're going to be skipping the before now to September of 2012. This is the first segment that Jared Reddick ever recorded. I'll just say this. Jared was obviously not an experienced voice actor. He did great at the singing role, but when he talked, he just sounded so unmotivated. But over the years, Jared has gotten a lot better and more expressive. This show tape was even re-recorded in 2014, and you could really hear the difference.
No, Helen, it's the original starring Ralph Macchio.
Nice!
Yeah, the only problem is I can't seem to find it. Me too, Helen, but this is the original starring Ralph Macchio.
Nice!
Yeah, the only problem is I can't seem to find it.
It's crazy how much he improved in such little time. Over the next year, corporate continued to expand Rockstar's presence, making logos for the front of the restaurant, making Rockstar outfits for the animatronics. At this point, it's 2013, and there has been a handful of new shows with the rocker look. Don't want to stay on this for too long, but the early Rockstar ads just hit different. Games for the holidays, following the fun. I like the idea of making songs for show tapes and using them in commercials, especially since it had some really expressive animation. Long story short, the ads have gotten worse and worse over the years, so I'm not even going to talk about them anymore. Fuck this shit. In 2014, something happened. Corporate decided that the rest of the band needed a makeover. Ellen got a big change, which I'm not too fond on. Munch got an improvement. Pasquale hardly changed. And we're not going to talk about Jasper. Along with these redesigns came along new mascots. Nah, I'm just kidding. They just adjusted the suits that were already available. Like, what is this? Eventually, though, they all received new walkarounds, and they're not very good. Fight me! I'm getting a little messy on this video structure, but that's because after 2013, there's not really much to talk about. Something else from 2014 that is worth noting is that they changed the gang's origin story. Chuck is an orphan, Pasquale came from Italy and owned a family restaurant, Helen is a gamer, Munches joined, and Jasper was just sitting there. The effects of this become apparent when you look at Every Boy, Every Girl. Is there anything else? Well, I mean, the show format changed. They stopped doing segments and started doing show tapes, and come on, please bring back segments. Please. And I'm done. This is the full origin of Rockstar Chuck. I think that this design change was the most controversial of all of his designs. I don't blame people who aren't fans of this look. Chuck's design had always had a consistent look, but then they just pull a big 180 with this design. No hat, new outfit, CGI. It just stands out. But I think that over the years, people have accepted this design as part of Chucky's character. But Rockstar has been falling in popularity over the years. Many company decisions have made people hate Rockstar Chuck, which I just don't think is fair. He's just in the shows. Dance floor, charities, tokens, and everything else doesn't have to do with Rockstar Chuck. He's just the damn mascot. Sure, Rockstar is kind of an asshole, but he gets too much hate. There are needs for improvements, though. Maybe give him like a wardrobe change. Like, come on, he's been wearing this stinky outfit for 10 years now. And please, contract somebody for new renders. What the fuck is this supposed to be? So happy birthday, Rockstar Chuck. Congrats on surviving 10 whole years. Will you outlive the Avenger? It's been a rocky history for Rockstar, but he's done it. He's been in the public eye for 10 years. Even though Avenger never really went away, Rockstar has made a name for himself. Not a very good name, but a name for himself indeed. So yeah, bye. They killed him at Cheese Mansion. Jesus Christ!